completely recognize the importance of software and SaaS. Right? The amount of turnover time that takes for a software company to bring out things, the turnover time it takes for a hardware company to bring out things is totally different. Because in hardware, you really need to fabricate stuff and actually build them. And there's a lot of processes involved. The production cycle for a hardware is different from the production cycle for a software. So this is one of the challenges. I do acknowledge that some of the investors who invest in hardware companies do acknowledge this, but most of the investors look at short-term returns. That is one challenge. You can't show in your life cycle that, okay, I'll have this ready by next 6 months. No, you can't do that. It's impossible to do that because it depends on the technology. So that's the reason why a lot of times the funding with respect to deep tech companies, of hardware deep tech companies, becomes a bit stalled, or it becomes a bit difficult to give. And that has really impeded us. But that has been offset by a very good thing that the government does. For the government recognizes this gap, this fallback shortcoming, and it allocates funding for that aspect of development. So that they call it R&D funding. It's not company funding, but they call it R&D funding. So it's not a production-based funding. That's where we still need to develop. Like if the government can allocate a production-based funding rather than R&D funding for a new concept, that would change the game a bit. But that's not the case right now. So there's a bit of a work that needs to be done to pull off an investor to believe in you. And also for a hardware company in its inception, like us, like we have just born 2 years ago. It's very hard to give